y'all, I'm Hope here at Crafty Hope and welcome. I am working in this junk journal that I created with an old book and some junk pages, some junk papers that I threw in here. Now, I like to start on any kind of art journal or junk journal with a bit of collage to add texture to it and just give me kind of a, I don't know, some cover up what's in the background and make it my own. I'm using an Uhu glue stick to stick down these scraps and kind of keeping with a neutral base. Now, the purpose of this junk journal page was to incorporate some shrink film flowers I had made using some graphics matte shrink film. We'll get to those flowers in a minute. And if you're coming over from the graphics channel to see this, welcome. Hi, make sure you subscribe and all of that. And if you are one of my regular viewers, you ought to go check out that video. It will show you how I created not only the flowers I'm going to use in this journal, but also two different other sets of flowers and what I did with those. So yeah, go over there, and if you're over here from there, welcome. So as you can see, I am collaging. I'm sticking to this neutral base, kind of just getting some stuff down and then pulling in my favorite DecoArt Americana craft paint. The shade is Sea Glass. It is this lovely kind of neutrally blue-green and matched one of the shrink flowers I had made. So I'm getting that in there, just kind of scrubbing it. Yeah, that's a word, right? Scrubbing it. That's what I'm trying to say. Scribbling and scrubbing it. So scrubbling. Yeah, that's a word. Sure. On my page, really, I'm just trying to incorporate all those different papers that I stuck down. I did bring my brayer in to kind of pull it out and give it more of an organic feel. And then I'm going to use my Stabilo all pencil in blue. I love this blue all pencil with that shade of sea glass paint. I don't know what it is. It just, yeah, it makes me happy. And I also scrubbulated it as well before I tried my page. So to add a little bit of additional texture and some stems for my flowers, I am using a hand-carved stamp I made with an eraser from the dollar store, and I'm using black soot distress oxide. And just getting, I've got the 3 stems at the bottom for the flowers I know I'm going to put in here, and then some more like vininess of that same stamp. I do love to take that distress ink and kind of blur it out and blend it because it is water reactive. So I've got a wet paintbrush, and that's what I'm doing, just kind of making that stamp a little less exact. Now, to bring some more of that black around on the page, I did put a little bit of the ink pad on a piece of some packaging and sprayed it with water, and then I'm just picking up that color and splattering it on the page. And that's just going to bring some of that black around. You can see I took the excess and just, dribbled it straight on to my junk journal page. And then I dried it. Now I'm starting to think about those shrink flowers. Here are the 3 flowers that I made using the graphic shrink film, and I put them just at the top of those 3 stems that come from the bottom. Now, I didn't think everything was quite right yet. I needed to bring in a little bit of more grunginess, a little darkening, and I'm using instant coffee. It's one of my favorite materials. It gives a little bit of an aged feel, and it feels just a little organic. I don't know. I use the word organic, but I don't know. It darkens it up. It gives it yumminess, and y'all, I love the smell of coffee. So if you don't like coffee, you can definitely use like a walnut ink or something like that, but I don't mind the coffee. So I did dry my coffee, and then I am going to sew in these 3 flowers, 3 charms, whatever you want to call them, using some beads, and I've got some crochet thread there. Now I'm going to use 2 different needles. If you watched the graphics video, you saw this portion of it, but I'm going to put my thread onto a beading needle and tie a knot in the end of it. And then I'm going to use like a regular thicker needle to actually punch the holes in my junk journal page. So I'm going to line up my flower where I want it, punch that hole through with that thicker needle. You could use a T-pin or some other kind of pokey tool, but the beading needle that I'm using is very thin and floppy and just won't puncture the page the way I want. So I did use that beading needle to come up through my page, through my shrink film flower, and then through an E-bead. So that's kind of a chunky seed bead. And that's why I'm using the beading needle, is to make sure I can get this thread through that E-bead. So again, I'm going to talk you through this a little bit more. I'm going to punch my hole, bring my beading needle and thread up through the back of my page, through my flower, and then through my bead. And then I'm going to go like around the bead and back through the hole in the flower and back through my page. And that's going to use that bead as an anchor to hold that flower into my junk journal page. I'm going to do it one more time for this last one so you can see. So I'm going to poke my hole and then basically just string everything on. Page, flower, bead, around the bead, back through the flower and back through the page, and then I will tie off on the back. And I believe I'm going to stick down a little bit of masking tape on the back to make sure that everything kind of, is secure back there. And you can see I wiggled everything to make sure all of that was kind of tight. And here you can see I'm going to tie this off and then grab some, I'm going to trim it, obviously, and then tape everything down. I believe, there's my masking tape. And really all this needs after this is a little bit of a sentiment. And to do that, I'm going to pull out some Tim Holtz Small Talk stickers. And I found that one of them said cultivate kindness. And I really felt like the cultivate word went well with, with the flowers and, cultivating flowers and plants. So I'm going to put that down. I did use a bit more of the Oohoo glue stick to get it to stick down because I had lots of texture on there. And I'm going to grab an R2 pen from Dollar Tree to go around my word just to make it stand out a touch more. And I'm gonna fiddle with that word just a little bit, but that is it. Like I said, head over to the graphics channel. I'll have it and or the video linked below for you to see. And if you have any questions for me about this or the shrink film, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks so much for coming by and watching, and I will see y'all later. Bye.